Hi, welcome to another edition of Hummel Hospital. Today I'm going to talk about making a very small repair to a Hummel figurine. This particular one is called Stormy Weather, based on a painting by Sister Maria Innocentia Hummel. This sculpture was made based on that painting in 1937, and this particular Hummel was produced around 1960, as shown by the type of trademark on the bottom there, okay? So the damage is this tiny little chip there. You may not even notice it from a distance, but it's there. And so if it's bothering you or something on the Hummel that you may have, I'll show you how to repair that. But in reality, sometimes repairing a tiny little chip like that can be a little bit more difficult than repairing something that's a little bit bigger. To repair that chip today, I'm going to use some epoxy putty. And as I have said in some other editions of Hummel Hospital, that putty comes in two pieces, and you cut off however much you think you're going to use, and then mix the two types of putty together, and then it hardens within just a few minutes. After I mix it together, I'll take a tiny bit of it and put it into that chipped area there to fill in that hole, and I will try to get it as close to a perfect smooth fill as I can. But after it dries, I will have to come back and sand it. And when you're sanding this type of putty, especially very small repairs like that, you need to use a very fine sandpaper. In fact, I use this sanding foam, and this here is at the 1200 to 1500 grain there. So very fine sandpaper is what you'll want to use. So let me go ahead and mix the putty together and make that repair, and then I'll come back. I have filled in the tiny chip with the epoxy putty as shown. It only took a very small amount of that putty. You can see where I cut off a corner of the two different types of epoxy putty and mixed them together, and I still had a pretty good amount left over after repairing that tiny little chip. Next thing will be to very lightly sand down the putty so it will blend in with the shape of the boy's shorts. You can use all sorts of sanding things, sanding paper, sanding foam, these sanding sticks, whatever you think works best as you experiment with the type of repair you're doing. After it's all sanded, I will use these paints to cover up the repair. And in addition to matching the green there, I also have to kind of match those brush strokes that the artist used when painting the boy's shorts. And that's why I have both a dark green, a yellow, and a very light green to accomplish that. So let me go ahead and sand down the chip and paint it, and then I'll come back for some closing comments. All finished sanding and painting the repaired area. And when people view these Hummels, they view them from a distance like this up on a shelf, and from this distance you cannot tell at all that there was a repair there. When that little white chip was there, it was very clear that there was a defect in the Hummel, but now at a normal viewing distance it is completely disappeared. Even getting in fairly close here, focusing, unless you knew there was something there, you would not be able to see it. In fact, the camera just doesn't seem to be picking up any type of defect. As far as blending in the color, that seems to be done very good there. Again, 3 different paints, mixing them together to get just the right shades. After I kind of matched the green in the boys' shirts, I came back with this lighter green and used a wider brush. I used this narrow brush here to paint the chip at first, and then this wider, stiffer brush with just a tiny bit of paint on there. It's kind of called dry brushing, and then put the brush strokes in to the boys' shorts. So, all in all, very good job. This particular Hummel figurine has been moving around now for almost 60 years. I found it on eBay. The seller did mention that there was that chip in the boys' shorts, so I knew it was there when I bought it. That's one of the reasons I did buy it, was so I could repair it. But hopefully this video helped you in showing you just how to repair a small chip in a Hummel figurine or any other type of ceramic figurine. So that's it for this edition of Hummel Hospital. See you in the next one.